Welcome to the Workbench and welcome to an episode of Wheels Wings TV. Today we have Tamiya's 1/20th scale Fiat 131 Abarth rally car. Let's have a look. First sprue. So this kit originally came out in 1980, so it's pushing 40 years old now. This is the latest boxing with the Olio Fiat markings. So we got our race seats. Very nice dashboard with the instruments. Looks like pretty comprehensive. Yeah, engine's broken down into quite a few pieces. There's your Abarth valve covers. Exhausts with ends slightly hollowed out. That's nice. We can do a little bit better with some drill bits, but suspension components looks like some of the roll cage. Little bit of mold lines getting a little big on this one. I mean, 40 years old, so these molds have seen some use, but still pretty fresh looking. I mean, some ejector pins would definitely have to probably take care of, but not too bad. Just want to take time with your cleanup. And being 1/20th scale, this thing's going to have a lot of presence, so you definitely want to make sure you clean everything up or it's going to be really visible. But yeah, especially that dashboard will look really good. You take some time to pick out those gauges. Nice. Next sprue, we got our brake discs and calipers all in one. Actually, it looks like there's twin brake calipers on the front wheels. That's interesting. Spare tire. Pirelli Corsa 265/40 R15s. Serpentine belt. Intake. Fans. Extinguisher. Steering wheel. Got our grill with the Fiat logo and hard to see, but a little Fiat Abarth logo engraved on the slats. Radiator and fan housing. Looks like the suspension. And unfortunately, mold seams a little bit prominent on those struts and shocks, so you just want to carefully tidy those up. Inner door panels. Looks like, I assume those are the wing mirrors. Yeah. Definitely a little bit more simplistic looking than Tamiya's latest offerings, but then again, things were done differently back in the day. Drive shaft, big mold line down the side of that, so that'll take some attention. Yeah, gear. Ooh. I'm assuming that's the gear lever right there. Looks like that might have shifted in molding. That's a little offset. Might want to just replace that with a straight pin. It's going to take a bit of effort to tidy up. Doesn't look like any other parts on this sprue are suffering. So aside from just typical mold seams, it looks like the gear shift here, that suffered from a little bit of mold shift. So basically the two sides of the mold haven't quite lined up. So the part basically becomes offset. So that'll fix that or replace that. But, I mean, 40-year-old tooling. Got our frame, lower chassis components, wheel wells, everything all molded in one piece. Looks alright. Looks like the spare tire, so I assume probably be able to open up the trunk. Yeah, this is very reminiscent of your typical American style car kits. Shock towers. Yeah, simple, but yeah, looks all right. No real issues with that I can see. We got our rather substantial body. I mean, this is a small car, but this is in 1/20th scale. Rather nicely done. And have some mold lines come up the corners, along the roof line, and possibly down the A-pillars, and then possibly maybe down the front a little bit. And it's hard to tell if these little circles here are ejector pins or if those are supposed to be for some sort of lights or something. We'll have to check the instructions. Yeah, a little bit of an edge there. You want to sand that down a little bit, tidy it up. Once again, so those circles here on the rear pillars. I would assume, being as that pronounced, those are not ejector pins, but we'll confirm that with the instructions. And separate hood and separate trunk lid means we'll be able to actually show off the engine detail on this, unlike most modern Tamiya cars. But yeah, everything, yeah, some mold lines to take care of, but that's par for the course for any car with the body molded like this. Yeah, that looks pretty good. That's big, so if you may want to upsize your airbrush parts for spraying this one. You're going to want to get a lot of paint down real quick. It looks good though. Here we go. We got our trunk lid, boot lid, the hood or the bonnet, and we got a couple of driver figures that really look like they need to go to the bathroom. So must be one of the final laps of the race, because these guys look like they need to finish in a hurry. Yeah, those guys are a little soft. Blew the backsides right out of them. Yeah, not too bad, but I mean, you got the option there if you want to have some pilots in the cockpit, so to speak. Those look like those are probably the rally lights, perhaps. Yeah, I take them or leave them, but it gives you the option anyway. It's like the rear trunk panel, Fiat. Looks all right. And they're clear parts. So even though the other parts are showing a little bit of age, these clear parts seem pretty good. Nice and clear, no real scratches. Although we do have a bit of cobwebbing up around the front here. Yeah, so a little bit here, a little bit here. Fortunately, nothing in the windshield, and A little bit on the, I think that's the rear window. So now, that is not a scratch, that is physically in the plastic. Basically, two fronts of molten plastic have met, and they've been at, I believe the cause of that is they're at slightly different temperatures, so they leave that little bit of a join line. No amount of polishing or buffing is going to take those out, so you're just going to have to live with it, unfortunately. But, you know, they are trying to mold a big hunk of clear here, so sometimes that can't be helped. I know, I think Fujimi or Aoshima car kits, they usually mold all the glass in one piece, and there's usually a lot of those. Headlight lenses look pretty good. Got the customary pin down the middle, which can sometimes take away from the look, but I mean, 40 years ago they did models different. Rear rear lights, the nice, yeah. Get some clear red and orange on some of those. Those look really good, and polish up those headlights a little bit. So, yeah, little disappointing there, but that, yeah, sometimes that just can't be helped no matter how much you plan for it. But still, looks pretty good. And I think once you get, yeah, you might not see those lines too much because they're going to be hidden behind the little quarter light frame there, quarter windows. So may not be super noticeable. The rear window you might notice a bit more, but thankfully the windshield is nice and clear. So it is what it is. Got our wheels and our light buckets, kind of done in not a shiny chrome, kind of a it's like a satin brushed sort of chrome, which is nice for the wheels. It would have been nice to have a proper high polish on the light buckets, but I mean, those can always be stripped and repainted if you so choose. Too bad, seam line down the middle, but I mean, that's going in the tire, who cares? Looks like gas cap, I think. Yeah, it's not too bad. We've got 2 packs of poly caps. We have some actual real life springs. And some metal pins. Other metal pieces, so hey, we might actually have a functional suspension. That's interesting. A piece of wire, probably for engine detail, and our tires. All the same all the way around. More of those Pirelli Corsa 265 40R15s. So if we lose one of these, we can head down to Midas and get some replacements. A little bit of flash around the middle, but probably won't see that once the wheels go in. I would assume these are probably directional, so one of these sides is going to have to go to the inside. No real mold line that I can detect, or if it is, it's very subtle. Yeah, those look alright. Still might want to paint those up a little bit. Sometimes these rubber tires can pick up dust really good, better than some Swiffers. So yeah, a little bit of flat black paint might make those look a little bit better. Now we got our decals. To be the usual Tamiya decals, little bit thick, but the clear is pretty tight around it, not many more than needs to be. And and you get some nice decals for your instrument clusters. But I mean, the raised detail, you could also paint that if you wanted to. Yeah, those should behave as any other Tamiya decal. Look okay. And we get a sheet of masking material. So the shapes are printed on, however they are not cut out. So I would assume this is going to be for going around those fender flares, potentially for the windows, but that looks more like it's going to be for the paint scheme for the between the yellow and the blue. So nice thing to include. And instructions. Usual blurb. Fiat Abarth Rally 1976. Dual overhead cam, 16 valve, 1995cc 4-cylinder engine putting out 230 horses. Max with torque of 23 kilograms per meter, which is probably many, many, many pound-feet of torque. Cool. Sounds like that's a hot little rally car. Tamiya's usual paint callouts. All right, engine. Yeah, this is gonna. Yeah, we get a fully done engine up in this kit. So yeah, if you're coming to Tamiya car kits from your typical Revell and AMT, this is going to be very familiar to you, except bigger scale. So you definitely. Okay, here's the that piece of wire that they give you. So cut that. That comes out from your, looks like, distributor cap. So yeah, they actually give you wire for doing your ignition harness. So that's nice. Looks like your air intakes. But I would assume that this is naturally aspirated carburetors. That's your transmission or gearbox. Yep, there's your ignition wires, exhaust manifold, transmission. Looks like it's a bit simplified. That's probably to fit. I mean, you're not going to see the top anyway, so that fits into the chassis. Fuel tank. Battery in the trunk, spare tire. Of course, this is all black. Looks like we got some, I guess, probably some cool fluid reservoirs of some description. Probably brake fluid and washer fluid. Yeah, so relatively well-appointed engine bay. It would definitely be in your interest to look up some reference photos of the engine bay of this car and wire and plumb up everything. Front suspension, which is going to be posable by the looks of it, with our actual coilover spring suspension. Tie rod's actually a metal piece, so that's not going anywhere. And the whole engine drops in. That's going to look really nice. Drive shaft and the rear differential. There's a few cross members. Exhaust. So you get your exhaust headers and then the final exhaust pipe, muffler, and rear suspension. Wheels, radiator, coolant pipes, wheels go on, looks like mud flaps, various interior bits and gear shift. Yeah. So the part that was kind of mismolded, that's our gear shift, so you might want to replace that. Pedal assembly, some handbrake, fire extinguisher, some tread plates. Dashboard, of course, they're looks like most of this is going to be handled by decals. So decals or paint, your choice. Dash goes together, steering column. So yeah, you're going to want to, if you're ever putting the driver and the co-driver in, you're going to want to make sure you get his hands actually on the wheel. Dashboard goes in. Okay, so yeah, looks like you should be getting your seats with your crew in there first, and then sticking the dashboard in. Roll cage with whatever that thing is. Looks like a bloody great big cup holder. Okay, so well, they actually give you in-depth instructions on painting the body. So step 1 is the TS47, which I'm pretty sure is the yellow. Yep, so you start with your yellow. So let's see, the roof and the fenders. Use masking 6 or 8 with demarcation when painting. Okay, yep, so those masking sheet, that's for doing your getting all those curves around the fenders, and for the, looks like the little spoiler, fill in the roof with just regular tape. And yeah, so just completely mask off the roof, mask off your fenders and rockers, and then follow up with the dark blue. And then detail painting flat black and chrome as necessary. Then rear panel with your tail lights, gas cap. Install your glass. Now the entire inside of the body flat black. Trunk lid actually has workable hinge, so you can have that open and closed as you wish. Interior door panels go in, rear window goes in, chassis onto the body, rear end first, then clips into the front. And some cross members onto the engine, mirrors, another little spoiler, the plethora of rally lights. Looks like, okay, they give you options. You can have all of the lights exposed, or you can have the covered lights. So your pick there. Door handles. Yeah, engine, okay, the engine hood flips forward. And nice, so yeah, that gets trapped by the grill. So yeah, you can open and close the hood, open and close the trunk. And if you want to put the radio antenna on the roof, 4 centimeter length of steel wire, so you want like some 0.015 music wire. And then your decal guide for all the various markings. Cool. That's going to be a very colorful, very large car model. Very boxy looking car, but I mean that's late 70s or so. That was the style. Cool. Definitely something different, which is always good. Change is good. So, Tamiya's renewed 1/20th scale Fiat 131 Abarth in the Olio Fiat markings. Something very colorful and something bigger than usual when it comes to model cars. So definitely interesting, if nothing else. Can't say that it's a super attractive looking car. Very boxy looking, especially with those big 70s fender flares. But I mean, if you're a fan of the classic rally car era, then yeah, you're definitely want to get your hands on one of these. So if you have not subscribed already, definitely do so, because we will be doing a full build review of this kit in the not too distant future. So thank you very much, and catch you next time.